And I'm David. We're talking about the amazing race.
Oh my gosh, we're almost to the end.
I know. So this is another 2-hour episode and they go to Bahrain first.
Mm-hmm. They're in Bahrain. Oh, they're headed to Bahrain.
Headed to Bahrain,
oh,
yes.
Boy, got a little problem
one
here.
One of the teams doesn't make it.
You guys. So they have a layover in Dubai and all of a sudden Ocean realizes that they're missing a passport.
Oh,
that is the worst.
And everyone, the other teams kind of couldn't care less in a way. They're like
I think they were sympathetic,
yeah.
like that stinks, but obviously
we're not,
that's on them.
We're gonna keep going.
Yeah.
They sort of have this attitude of
except of course Jessica.
Yeah, I know, she was thrilled. But they just sort of have this attitude rule number 1 is always have your passport. So sorry about it. But they all board the plane and these other 4 teams leave and Ocean is just stuck in Dubai trying to find a solution.
Right, and the upside is that Dubai is one of the places that you could have a solution.
Right.
There are definitely legs on this race where they would have had no options probably.
Yeah.
But they go and get a temporary and
embassy,
so they're working on that while everyone else is in Bahrain.
There's a lot to do in Bahrain.
Yes, and a lot of traffic.
They are running all over the place, driving all over the place. It's crazy. But the first thing they have to do is lug 300 pounds of wood.
Oh my gosh. I could not believe Indy's 2 people lugging a piece of wood.
Yeah.
Because they were very heavy.
They were.
And Extreme each just
dragging
them
one at a time.
They were we're each taking a piece of wood.
Christy was they're doing it wrong. You gotta just drag one each.
Guys, those girls are making you look weak.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And sure enough, they end up, so they sort of have a little bit of a fight towards the end because Jen's let's weigh it. And Christy's what if we don't have enough? And Jen's we're weighing it. And then they weigh it and they have enough. So they pass Indy on the way out of this.
I love how Jen handles Christy because Christy starts to get sort of rash and impatient and Jen's just we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, this is how we're doing it, we're doing this. And it usually works out. I mean, they're a super successful team.
So they're the first out, and then Yale, I think, shows up while Indy's still there, but then Indy and Yale get out before BB even shows up.
Before BB even shows up, yeah.
So BB's a little bit behind here, but, traffic and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, everyone's frustrated with traffic.
Yeah.
Indy and Extreme get to this dessert thing that's next together. They figure that out together, and off they go. And then somehow BB passes Yale now.
Yeah.
Because, again, everyone's having traffic problems. Yeah. So now BB's passing Yale and Yale is having navigational difficulties. Yeah, they're not having traffic problems, they're having navigational difficulties. I love her vocabulary.
So then the next thing is the relic thing, right? And BB shows up first.
Somehow BB shows up to this pot.
You just never know about
treasure thing that they're doing. Yeah, exactly. And now they're going through all these pots and looking for something. This is very
would drive me mad.
Detailed, but also just expansive. Yeah. Just a lot
pots
of
everywhere.
Pots to go
and
they
all look they're different shapes, but they're all the same color. So it's easy to lose track of where you've already looked and which pot you've looked in. And people do start to lose it a little bit.
And it's really hot apparently.
Oh yeah, Henry almost has heat stroke or something.
Extreme obviously goes in and is we're gonna do this systematically. They're on top of it they always are.
Yeah.
But
I think it's BB out first and then Extreme, right?
Yes, but pretty much at the same time.
Yeah.
So they're out. And then Indy not far behind, leaving Yale behind struggling. They had one more to get and they were just really, really struggling to get it.
And then the next thing they have to do, there's a ton of traffic, right?
We should say that they do check in with Ocean around this time and they say we do have this temporary passport. We are headed to Bahrain. So they are sort of moving forward.
And you're I was sort of thinking, it's still daylight. Yeah. And they say it's only an hour flight.
It's only an hour flight.
We got on the next flight, so I was okay, who knows, right? There's so much traffic. That's that was a theme of this episode, and I think they tried to do that to up the drama a little bit, but everyone was lost, you know? And even Ocean Rescue says well, we can only hope that someone's lost right now.
Right.
So you're thinking, okay, maybe they still have a shot.
Now everyone in Bahrain is milking camels.
I can't. Seeing that milk come out of that udder, I was I wouldn't be able to do it. Someone else has to do it.
I don't think I would have enjoyed it, but I wouldn't have a problem doing it. And I love that Alex was petting the camel and Connor just what's happening? But they get through it and then the girls are oh, camels, I love it. So I don't know, they seemed alright until BB. Now they show up last And as Yale is leaving, BB's showing up. Right. And Jess is like, no way, I'm not doing it. She's
Cody
like,
milks the camel and then drinks it. Cody, he drinks almost the whole glass.
Cody, you didn't have to do that.
Oh, God. Then they have to go to this like tree of life.
The tree of life is the pit stop. How beautiful.
Yeah, so beautiful and crazy. I was like, how does that work?
How does that work?
So all 4 of those teams check in, and then we check in on Ocean Rescue again, and by the time they get to Bahrain, it is fully nighttime.
Yeah, now it's dark and you're like, oh wait.
Yeah.
They were not
They're
right
not
behind
close at all.
So they don't even get to do any of the legs.
Yeah.
Phil's right there and he's like, hey, glad you got here.
Yeah.
But you have been eliminated.
As you can see. So that was a bummer because they were, you know, they'd have
such a bummer.
They had a couple of first place finishes. They were a really strong team.
They were doing well and they were having fun and they got engaged, and thank goodness he proposed when he did.
Thank goodness.
Because if he had waited for this would have been a bad time.
Bad time. And she was so sweet, and she was like, I still, you know, it's just about us, and like,
they had great,
I still love him so much.
They were good sports about it all.
They were.
Heartbreaking as I'm sure it was for them.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like, you can't get mad at your future husband for losing his passport.
I mean, he did kind of lose it twice, though. Remember when he opened up the envelope and he was like, oh, I don't know where the passport is. And she's like, I have it. I have your temporary resident passport.
Yeah. And he did say, he was like, I usually give her the stuff because I lose it.
Yeah.
Which I can relate. My husband loses everything too. And it just drives me bonkers. And I think I would stab him on live television if we were on The Amazing Race and he did that. I'd just like throw him out the plane and be like, can't anymore. I'm done.
So it's sort of a bummer elimination, but we're still stuck with like 4 really strong teams going into the final legs of this race.
So Indy was first, Extreme, Yale, then BB.
Yeah.
Was the order.
So then we're continuing on in this 2-hour adventure, and we're going to Thailand. Which is unbelievably gorgeous. It's so green in the hills and just beautiful. And they have to go to like a temple sort of situation right away, right? To find garlands on these ladies walking around.
Yeah, they do a quick little garland on the ladies, although BB is like having a really hard time with it.
Yeah.
They can't find the lady. They're now given a detour of size it with elephants. Or sees it with frogs. Like that's the information they get, right?
Yeah.
And why would you ever go to Thailand and then choose a challenge to catch frogs?
I need answers.
Who passes up elephants in Thailand?
Who? There is no way I would not be doing that part of the detour.
No.
There's no way.
Hands down. Of course. Elephants in Thailand.
And it looked amazing. Like finally, you know, Yale decides to do that. Extreme changes detours and does that. And it looked incredible. Like such a great experience that they will never forget. They get to ride an elephant in the end, but we're sort of getting ahead.
Okay, we're getting ahead because we do have to point out here. Okay, so here's the second time that Extreme sort of bickers, right? Yes. We just had a little, not really in the first leg. It's just that Jen sort of shuts Christy down and like,
down the law
we're weighing the logs, we're weighing the wood, we're weighing the wood.
Yeah.
And this time though, Jen like loses it, which I was like, eventually you have to. Like, how can Jen just be so level-headed the whole time?
Because they sort of commit. Like Jen is like, I think I'd be really good at the measurements thing, like let's do the elephants. And then Christy was like, oh, but like, what about the frogs? Like, I think we should do the frogs.
Christy was like, I don't know, is it passive aggressive? I don't know what it is, where Christy's like, frogs would be cool, but whatever you think. Like, it's like, it's leaning towards frogs, but whatever you think.
And Jen was
what
like,
about frogs, but you would make the decision. It's like that. And so like, Jen is really great at being like, okay, great, doing the elephants, doing the elephants, doing the elephants. And then finally, because Christy won't drop it, she's like, I'm gonna catch frogs, I'm gonna catch frogs. Christy's like, stop it.
She's like, we committed to this, so we're either doing it or we're like, what do you want to do here? Make a decision.
And I love that Christy's like, no, you're right. You're better at making decisions. Like that is your job in this duo. So we have to remember that. I'm, you know, I'm the one being like frogs, frogs, frogs.
Yeah.
But it was just so interesting to see like Jen finally like, okay.
Yeah, right. But then what ends up happening with Extreme is they pass the frog part of the detour first. So then they're like, well, should we just stop? Okay, like the other teams are here. Should we just stop and try this frog thing? But they try it for like, it seemed like 30 seconds and they're like, we gotta get out of here.
So Indy and Big Brother are already there. And Indy can't catch a frog to save their lives. No. So when Extreme does get there, they're not seeing progress. They're not seeing anyone doing great.
Yeah.
And they realize how tough it is. And Jen realizes her instinct was correct. They need to do elephants. So they immediately are back.
Yeah.
in their little taxi thing and head to the elephants. So Yale has arrived there first because of this little detour. So it seems like Extreme is, you know, 4th place last.
Yeah. The only person who's really good at catching frogs is Cody.
Dude, he's literally in the mud.
Hands and knees. Just snatching up toads left and right.
He's so crazy.
Jess, and she said it at the end of the episode, she was like, I was no help on this leg.
Help.
And she was right.
Yeah.
Because Cody, I think, caught 20 out of 20 frogs. They had to catch 20 frogs, and Cody caught every single one for their team.
But I would have been her too. Like, there's no, I would have tried, and I just would have been like, each time. I'd be like, yeah! Like, again, elephants in Thailand, never frogs.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
BB gets out first. Indy eventually figures it out.
And those two teams are sort of in the lead. So then Yale, like Sarah said, is ahead of Extreme when they get to the elephants, but they struggle with this math.
This was tailor-made for Yale.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
And they even were sort of talking up their math skills. They're like, we both had, like, with the jobs that we have, we both have to, like, do a lot of mental math. Like, this is right up our alley.
Yeah.
And they...
And you know Extreme is worried. They're like, we're never going to pass Yale on this challenge.
And it was not just a matter, because it was difficult to, like, get the tape measure around the elephant's foot, but it was not just a matter of that. It was Yale did the math wrong.
They miss it twice. They go to get checked, incorrect. They go back, second time, still incorrect.
Yeah.
So that allows Extreme, who gets it correct on the first try.
Yeah, they did have a mistake, but they realized it before they got checked because they like did all their calculations and it said an elephant's 68 centimeters.
That's the thing. If you don't think this is your strength, you're really paying attention and really working hard at it because you are just trying to get it right.
Yeah.
Whereas Yale's like, we got this.
Yeah.
And then you make a mistake. I think that's
a little too cocky. Maybe.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
So that allows them to hop on those elephants.
Jen was all of us. She was like, this is the most amazing thing. And I would have been so happy just watching them like crawl up the trunk. It looked awesome. Like that's the kind of Thailand experience you want. I was so jealous.
Baby elephants.
Yes. Oh, so cute.
That was beautiful. How can you miss that? Jeez.
Then they go to what is probably the funniest thing I've ever seen on An Amazing Race. I have not been watching for years and years, but oh my God.
This was so good.
It was the layers of it, right? You think that one person's just gonna have to eat scorpions, but no. You don't get to stand by and just watch. You get scorpions dropped on, as Connor says, right on the nips.
Right on the nips, live scorpions just hanging out there.
Scurrying around on your shirt.
Obviously, Cody can just shove things down his throat. I'm thinking if they just plan, you know, because you don't know what it is, so you have to pick who's going to do it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, if Cody picks this, he'll fly through it.
He probably would eat a live scorpion, let's be honest.
Yeah. But like, if Jess were to pick that, I don't know how that would have gone down.
Yeah.
Alex and Connor, like, I think either one of them would have just powered through it both ways. Those people wearing the scorpions were freaking out.
Oh my God, it was horrifying.
It seemed as horrifying as it seemed.
As I was watching, I'm like, surely they've like removed the stingers or something from these scorpions. So I'm sure it wasn't a real like life-threatening situation.
I would think.
But it's still just feeling those things scurry around on you. Horrible.
Yeah.
And what was great about the eating part of the challenge was like they get done with all the scorpions and then they're like, here's your second course.
Yeah, they're like, oh, more? But apparently the frog was a little easier, I guess.
Just a lot of bones, But Indy ends up getting out a little bit before BB.
Just right before BB.
Jess, like, can hardly control herself. She's, like, trying not to look at the scorpions on her shirt.
But, that's all the more incentive for Cody to just be like, I gotta save my girl.
Yeah, right.
And then Jen ends up eating for Extreme. And then Evan chooses it for Yale.
Yes.
So they're a little bit behind. But when they finally get there, she has to chew through those scorpions. Now, we're all headed to the pit stop.
Yeah.
Indy checks in first. BB's right behind them. Second place. But they play with us a little bit with the editing.
They do. Because they start to say, like, you know, we hope Extreme is the third team because the three of us have bonded a lot. And earlier in the episode, Extreme had been saying, like, we're, you know, only 3 all-girl teams have won Amazing Race and we've been in the top 3 the whole time. And we're thinking, this better not be a tease.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing that Extreme is getting eliminated this episode.
You're talking a lot about Yale leaving and Extreme staying. I was just like, what's gonna happen? Who's gonna go? Out of these 2 teams, Extreme does end up coming in 3rd on the match.
Which is great, because we love them.
They're love them.
Amazing.
Top 3 this whole time.
But I've really enjoyed Yale. I'm rooting for them too, so I'm like thinking, man, like, what a bummer. They were so close to the final leg.
And for them to mess up on that challenge too was like so hard.
But it's a non-elimination.
Non-elimination!
Yes.
So we still have 4 teams.
Right.
These teams are the best 4 teams.
They really are.
We're going into a 2-hour finale next week with such great competitors. I'm so excited about this
And they're
finale.
not too far apart. Like Yale was definitely behind the other 3 teams in Thailand, but if we're talking about like a time departure thing at the beginning of the next episode, I don't think they're going to be that far behind. So it's going to be neck and neck. I imagine someone's going to get eliminated in the first hour, and then we'll have the traditional final 3 for the second hour.
Right.
But it's going to be close. I have no idea who's going to pull it out.
This is another thing that I love. Besides the fact that these are all really, really good teams, and it hasn't been like one team better than everyone else. So I feel like it's an even playing field. But also they've all struggled. They've all had, you know, miscommunications or missed details.
Yes.
They've all had a bad day.
Yeah.
So that's also an even playing field. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like that's what gets me excited, is that any of these 4 teams could win.
Absolutely. It's super compelling. And I think I'll be happy for any of them, really.
I think I will be too.
I think like this episode showed me, as much as I am rooting for Yale, and I have been all along, like I think I'm rooting for Extreme a little bit more.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I would really love to see them win. I also have loved BB. I don't know. I just like them all, really. I do.
No, I agree. Like, I'm definitely rooting for Extreme. I would love for them to win, but I will be happy for any of these 4 teams to win.
I think they all will have earned it.
Yeah. This is a great top 4, final 4.
Yes.
Yay. I can't wait for this finale.
I know.
All right, you guys. Tell us what you think, who you're rooting for, who you want to win.
And we'll see you next week for the finale.
Okay, bye.
Bye.